Okay, so we finally got the body cam footage. Well, first of all, kudos to whoever in New Mexico released this footage because it was unusually fast. This just happened a few days ago. Um, a case of an innocent homeowner being executed by police. So first, let's watch the video. This is from Reuters. This is the body cam video showing the Farmington police shooting and killing a homeowner. We'll go over what we're actually seeing here after we watch it the first time in the clear. So here we go.
Farmington, please. Is this not 5308? That's what it said right there, right? That's 5305, isn't it? 108. Can you 10-9 the address? Don't tell me I'm wrong. Oh, shit. Hey, hands up! Shots fired! Shots fired! Yeah, you good? You good? Back up, back up, back up. Check yourself, check yourself.
I'm good.
Hands up! Yeah. 4108, shots fired again.
No, it's 5305, isn't it?
108. 10-9 address. Going value. Hey, hands up! Shots fired! Shots fired! Hands up! Yeah. Hey. Shots fired! Shots fired! Please don't. Please, you're all right. Go ahead. He's 10-7. This is done. Farmington, please.
First, there are people who are going to say, but they announced themselves as police. No, they didn't. No announcement occurred. An announcement occurs when the other party hears you. Now, if you even remotely, by any stretch of the imagination, think that a homeowner, probably asleep. Remember, there's a pretty big time. You can see right here. Look in the window. The lights are out. Okay? These people are in bed. So not only are they not going to hear him saying Farmington police, but his knock was louder than the words he used to say Farmington police. Now, part of that is because this is not supposed to be a violent encounter. So the police are, I don't know, they're answering some sort of a call. Who knows? I don't know what they're doing here. But they're at the wrong address. And the police realize they're at the wrong address. Now, let's see that happen here.
Is this not 5308? That's what it said right there, right? That's 5305. 108. Can you 10-9 the address? Valley View Avenue, at a confidence. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Oh, shit.
Now, I'm not sure why he said, oh shit, and backed up. Did he see the homeowner through the window? I'm not sure. And before people say, well, why didn't they use their video doorbell? Well, actually, it looks like they do have one, actually. That looks like a video doorbell right there. Who checks that at whatever o'clock in the morning it is right now? I mean, it's definitely after 10 o'clock. It's pitch dark, and it gets dark about 9 o'clock now. And you can see it is absolutely pitch dark. So whatever time it is, it's late. And you can see the lights are out. There's no lights on inside the house. They're in bed. So they have no idea who is at their door. I live in rural New Mexico. I live down in Edgewood, about 3 hours from Farmington or 4 hours from Farmington. If someone knocks on my door late at night, guess how I'm answering the door? With a gun in my hands. I mean, I'm a pizza delivery driver. Well, I used to be back in Pennsylvania. Even in Pennsylvania, I've had doors opened with guns in their hand, and it's not a big deal. You know, I know the person's not going to shoot me. I'm usually armed. If my boss knew, they'd fire me because they'd have to, because their rules are stupid and say that we're not allowed to carry, even though being a pizza delivery driver is, 8 times as dangerous as being a police officer? Being a police officer is usually 15 to 18 in the top 20 most dangerous jobs list, while being a delivery driver, which would include pizza delivery, is number 5 on the list of top most dangerous jobs. Sometimes it drops to 8. 50 police officers die a year to homicide. About 700 or 800 delivery drivers die a year to homicide. Okay? Your kid delivering pizza for Domino's is in far, far greater danger for his life than a police officer is. But either way, they realize they're at the wrong address and they're preparing to leave. Now, this part here is bad luck. The homeowner answers the door as the police are doing the most suspicious thing they could do. Now, let's go forward.
Hey, hands up!
So, the homeowner does not answer the door with the gun drawn. He answers it, well, drawn, yes, but in low ready. Okay? So, when you have a gun, when your gun is pointed down at the ground in front of you, that's called low ready. All you got to do is pull up and you can aim at your target. But in order to not just be flagging everybody you're considering pointing your gun at, you're in low ready. Okay? So he comes out to the door low ready. Now, the cop doesn't ID himself, doesn't say, "Hey, police," nothing. He immediately opens fire. Look, I want you to consider how much time there is between the homeowners just now opening the door. 1,001, 1,000, 1.5 seconds. The homeowner gets 1.5 seconds from the time he opens the door to the time the police are filling his body with bullets. Now, I'm pretty quick on my feet, even for somebody my size, especially for somebody my size. But 1.5 seconds, you have about as much time to do what the homeowner actually did. Go from low ready to fire. Now, why did the homeowner point his gun at the police? Because they're not fucking police. They're not the police. Stop thinking about this from the perspective of the police officers and think about this from the perspective of the homeowner, who has no idea these are police officers. To him, these are intruders. And they're doing the second most suspicious. Well, no, it's single most suspicious. Because if they actually attacked him right away at the door, that's not suspicious. Now you're actually being violent. But they do the single most suspicious thing they could possibly do. They back out of the light into the dark, making it more difficult for the homeowner to see who it is at the door. They point guns at him, because the cop's guns are drawn before the cop steps half this distance back from the door, and they're blinding him with their flashlights. This all happens in less than 1 second. In 1001. In less than that amount of time. 1001. In less than that amount of time, they're backing into the dark, their guns are drawn, and they're blinding him with their flashlights. I don't know about you. Maybe I'm the weird one. I don't think so. I mean, this happens again and again and again. But if you're a police officer and you answer your door and 2 dark armed assailants, actually 3, but the homeowner can only see 2 dark armed assailants pointing guns and flashlights in your face after having knocked on your door in the middle of a dark night in a rural town, Okay, because Farmington is rural. Okay, there's probably less than 10,000 people in the entire geographic area. So, two dark assailants with guns drawn, blinding you with flashlights, yell something at you, and you have less than 1 second to do something. I don't know about you, but I'm opening fire. I'm going to answer my door. You come to my door late at night like this, I'm going to answer my door with a gun in my hand. That's just a given. I have a lockbox right there next to the door, and I have one next to my bed, depending on wherever I feel like putting it. I'm going to have that gun in my hand when I answer that door. And if somebody is backing into the dark so I can't see them, blinding me with lights and pointing something at me, I'm shooting them. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm not going to say, oh, by the way, who are you before I put my... No, as you can see, in 1.5 seconds, the cop shot him dead. What else is he supposed to do? You literally... you put the homeowner in an absolute no-win scenario. What did the homeowner do wrong? He did not point a gun at police. He pointed a gun at assailants backing out of the light into the dark, blinding with flashlights while pointing guns at him. I'd go from low ready to fire as well. Because as you saw, he had less than a second to live. If these weren't police, the homeowner would have shot at these intruders. And it would have been the right choice. The only reason it was the wrong choice is because we have trigger-happy police who shoot citizens on sight if they perceive them to be even the slightest threat. These cops... Now, this was no longer... Even if this was a domestic violence situation, which is actually very risky for police, because you got people with heated emotions who might be armed, and you can't see them through the house door. But these police already knew they were at the wrong house. They were even laughing about it 3 seconds earlier. And they just immediately opened fire on the guy. He never even got a shot off. They executed him. It isn't murder. Because I don't think they walked up to this door thinking, hey, let's murder this guy. Okay, because that's what it would require to be murder. But it's absolutely negligent homicide. I mean, what could the guy do? You say, well, but what if he shot at the police? Then you accept the shot. You chose the job. It's not like you were born and conscripted to be a police officer. Nobody forced these three people to be police officers. Nobody said, you put a gun to their head and said, you must go to the academy, if they even did that, and you must be a police officer, and you must accept these risks. No, they chose this job. Of their own free will, they chose this job. But they don't want to accept the consequences of choosing this job. It's like signing up to be a soldier and then complaining you're being shot at. You signed up to be a soldier. Soldiers get shot at. Do you know what would happen if this was a foreign country and those were soldiers? They'd be up on court-martial right now. Because there are rules that soldiers have to follow that are more strict than what police have to follow. If soldiers did this, they'd be court-martialed. They'd be going to Leavenworth. They'd be dishonorably discharged. Because they opened fire on an innocent person without being fired upon. The rule for police should be, do not fire until fired upon. Not you think you're going to be fired upon. Not you think you could be fired upon. Not you think you might be fired upon. Not you fear you might be fired upon. But until the homeowner actually fires on you, you should not be allowed to return fire or initiate fire. And when you are knowingly in the wrong, even if the homeowner opens fire, you should not be allowed to return fire. You're the intruder. You're making the mistake. The homeowner is just answering their dark house. Okay, the lights are on outside. The lights are off inside. They're in bed. All they know is some intruders are at the door. Some people are at the door. And when he opens the door, They're backing out of the light into the dark, pointing guns at him and blinding him with a flashlight. And in less than 1.5 seconds, they're shooting him dead. What the police should have done was stand there and not move. The police officer should have put his hands up and said, whoa, whoa, police. Okay? Make yourself a non-threat. That officer should have put his hands in the air, not drawn his gun. He's got two buddies who can draw his guns. Okay? He should have stopped, not pointed his flashlight at the citizen, put his hands in the air, and says, whoa, wait, police, police. That's it. And the homeowner would go, oh, okay, I didn't know who you were. And he'd have put his gun down. But instead, they had to murder him or execute him. And, people are right. This is a gun control issue. Police don't know how to control their goddamn guns because there's no consequences when they execute you. Now, what happens next? They unload. Now, once you start firing, unload makes sense. Police are trained, and anybody who uses a gun is trained. You fire until the threat is stopped. That means you empty your mag. You keep firing until the threat is stopped. Because if you stop firing, well, then that's when you get shot. But forget that. That's training.
You good? You good?
Now watch what happens here.
Check yourself.
I'm good.
Hands up!
Now, what happens here? The wife comes to the door and opens fire on the police. No, she doesn't. The wife does not open the door and open fire on the police. The wife opens the door and opens fire on the killers who just executed her husband right in front of her simply for answering his door in the middle of the night. Because again, at no point do these fuckers say, hold up, we're police. No, they just keep blinding whoever's inside with their fucking flashlights, and they shoot whoever comes out the door. Hey, that worked great the first time. Let's do it again. Let's blind them with our flashlights and keep shooting. At least she gets a shot off this time. The guy who had they didn't give him a chance. They just fucking blew him away in less than 1.5 seconds. Oh my God. So the wife answers the door, sees her slaughtered husband, opens fire on the killers who just killed her husband, and they of course unload again on her. Now, of course, most police are horrible shots. They have very poor training. It's one thing where I guess thank God they're horrible shots, but usually they unload enough rounds that one of them is going to get you. She gets lucky. She doesn't get hit. And she immediately surrenders once they finally ID themselves as cops. And yet you have people still trying to blame the homeowners, doing anything any sane homeowner would do. You live in the middle of nowhere. Farmington is the middle of fucking nowhere, okay? Whatever is rural to your city is not as rural as Farmington is, and Farmington's a city in New Mexico. The only proper city New Mexico has is Albuquerque. Pretty much, well, you can probably, what's that military town out east? There's a town out east that has a military base surrounded by mountains. Really cool place. I was actually going to live there. But I couldn't find a house there. But basically, most of New Mexico is rural. My neighbors are 300 feet each way. Well, not 300 feet, 150 feet. And I live in a town. Okay, I live in a town, Edgewood, and my neighbors are still 150 feet either direction. I couldn't afford to live truly alone. That's similar to what you have here. So it's the middle of the night. A homeowner lawfully answers their door to an unknown set of people with his gun in his hand at low ready. And you say, well, he points the gun at the police. No, he does not point the gun at police. He points the gun at unknown intruders knocking on his door in the middle of the night while they're in bed, who then back out of the light into the dark, suspicious, point guns at him, suspicious, and blind him with their flashlights, suspicious. All while never identifying themselves as police. And in less than 1.5 seconds, they shoot him dead. When the correct course of action for the police officers in this situation should have been to not touch your gun or your flashlight. Step forward into the light with your hands up saying, whoa, police. Okay? Now he's going to see your hands up, meaning he's not going to pull the trigger unless he's a psychopath. And now he's going to see your uniform and see your badge. And when you give him a couple of seconds to register what's going on in front of him, yes, that means you have to stand there with a citizen pointing a gun at you. Suck it up, buttercup. Deal with it or quit. Yes, you're going to have to stand there for a moment with a citizen with a gun in your face until that citizen can get the sleep out of his eyes and register that I'm looking at a cop. Okay, let me put my gun down. But instead, they escalate. And they just, in this case, I wouldn't even call it an escalation. They just executed him on the spot. They just instantly executed him. Shot him dead. He never got a shot off. You can actually see the muzzle flash from his wife shooting at them because they just slaughtered her husband. And as soon as they finally ID themselves as police, she puts the gun down. And yet you're going to have people blaming the homeowner. Or you'll get lucky and you'll get some dimwit on Twitter who says, oh, they both effed up. Really? The homeowner did everything right. The homeowner could not have done anything different. He answered his door armed. A sensible thing to do when you live in rural New Mexico. When someone knocks on your door in the middle of the night. The last time I had someone knock on my door in the middle of the night was 6 years ago, or was it 5 years ago? 5 or 6 years ago, when police knocked on my door because someone swatted me from a live stream. Thankfully, I didn't get shot. Because yes, I answered my door armed. Now, I didn't answer low ready because I lived in Levittown. The likelihood of me needing my gun is minimal, but it was damn right. You bet it was in my pocket. But otherwise, in the last 20 years, in the last 30 years, the number of times besides that swatting that I've had someone knock on my door at night like this, 0. The number of times I've had somebody knock on my door in the middle of the night is 0. Okay? So he answers the door armed. And they immediately do the most suspicious things they can do. They back out of the light, making it harder for him to see them. They point guns at him, and they shine flashlights in his face immediately. So now he's blinded and dazed by an unknown number of assailants backing away from his door into the dark. He doesn't see from a homeowner's perspective, that's not retreating. That's tactically moving into a darkness position so that you can't be seen, but you can see the homeowner. Okay, that's a threatening thing to do. That's not a retreating thing. That's a threatening thing to do. All the police officer had to do was to, okay, the backing up and retreating, that was bad luck. They realized they were at the wrong house. They figured the homeowner wasn't going to answer, so they were going to leave. And at that exact moment, bad luck, the homeowner answers the door, and he's armed. As he should be. Now, instead of doing the right thing, stop in his tracks, do not touch his gun, do not touch his flashlight. The other officers should not be pointing their flashlights at the homeowner. They should be pointing their flashlights at his feet. Light up the area. In fact, they don't even need to point their flashlights at him. He has lights on. It's a well-lit porch. The sole purpose of pointing their lights at the subject, at the citizen, is to blind him. That's why they're doing it. They don't need it to see. Look, the homeowner's light lights up the area just fine under the porch where the homeowner is. All right? The sole reason for shining their lights at the subject is to blind him. Now, look at this, flip this 180 and look at it from the homeowner's perspective. Unknown assailants, middle of the night, backing out of the light into the dark, pointing guns at you and blinding you with flashlights. Yes, I am going to go from low ready to ready to fire immediately. And the police knew this. They knew what the citizen was going to do because everything they did caused the citizen to do this. They might as well have jacked that officer directly into the cerebral cortex of the citizen and made him point the guns at him because everything they did told that citizen point his gun at them. Everything they did was what was needed to make that citizen point his gun at them. And yet people blame the citizen. Wrong house, completely innocent person, middle of the night, and you're backing out of the light into the dark, blinding him with a flashlight and pointing guns at him. But it's the citizen's fault. Police shouldn't even have guns. In most situations, police don't need guns. They just make the situation worse. The law should be, do not fire until fired upon. That should be the law. A police officer should not be permitted, in most situations, to ever fire on a citizen unless the citizen is firing upon them. And it should be even more strict if the citizen has a justified reason to threaten them, such as this. Meaning, they should be required to take the fire. Yes, they should be required to allow the citizen to shoot at them without shooting back. Flee. Retreat. You've got armor, you've got medics. The citizen doesn't. Because the police will actually sit there and prevent the medics from doing anything because they want the citizen dead because then they can't fight them in court. That's happened too, where the police have denied the medics immediate access. They want to make sure he's dead. How many times does this have to happen before people realize something's wrong here? I mean, let's watch this one more time. I want you to think in your head. Stop thinking about yourself from the perspective of the police. You're not the police. Think about yourself from the perspective of the homeowner in the middle of the night, rural New Mexico, and somebody is knocking at their door, and then the people who are knocking at your door, who you have no idea who they are, they do this.
Hey, hands up!
You've got 1 second. You've got 1 second to figure out what to do. Let's just play that again. One last time to end the video.
Hey, hands up! Shots fired, shots fired!